Do waist trainers actually work? Thanks to the Kardashian-Jenner family and various fitness influencers, many are aware of waist trainers and the signature snatched waist look they promise to deliver. In fact, Kim Kardashian sells them as part of a super popular Skims line, and has said she gives them to all of her friends who have recently given birth to help them recover their shape. However, are waist trainers effective, and what are the risks of using one? And more, is a waist trainer the secret to a snatched, curvy figure? It's so important to note that all body types are beautiful, and you shouldn't feel the need to whip into shape right after having a baby. That said, if you want to consider a waist trainer, we tapped a slew of experts for answers to all of these valid questions. Keep reading to learn everything you need to know about the controversial trend. What is a waist trainer? A waist trainer is a device similar to a corset, typically manufactured from an elastic material, explains Kelly Vargo, MS miles per hour, CSES, a certified strength and conditioning coach. Often, waist trainers feature a Velcro strap that can be cinched around the waist or a bra-style hook and eyes that can be progressively tightened. The intention behind wearing one? To create a slimmer waist and an hourglass figure, Vargo says. The idea of using a garment to shape the waist is nothing new. There's a historical aspect to waist training that goes back to the 1500s, says Jacqueline Fulop, a board-licensed physical therapist and founder of Exchange Physical Therapy Group. Women would tighten corsets over a period of time to achieve a smaller waist size. Waist trainers these days are made of different materials and are not usually worn as tightly, but they promise a similar effect. They claim to tone, slim, and shape the waistline, taking inches off the belly, Fulop says. How waist trainers work? They help shed water weight. Waist trainers may deliver on some of their promises. There may be some water weight shed through sweating from wearing a waist trainer, Vargo says. However, it's important to note that losing water weight doesn't mean you've lost fat. They may lead to muscle atrophy. Waist trainers do sort of help change the shape of your body. Tightly cinched waist trainers make it hard to use your abdominal muscles, which can make them weaker. This could make your waist appear slimmer over time since the muscles become smaller. If your waist appears to be smaller after a few weeks, it's likely due to water loss and muscle atrophy, Vargo says. Your waist will appear smaller while wearing the waist trainer since it works similarly to shapewear. Once you take it off, though, you may notice less of a difference in your waistline. They can improve posture. A waist trainer can have some short-term benefits, like improving posture, as it forces you to sit and stand up straight, Fulop points out. That might provide an overall longer appearance. A waist trainer can also encourage proper lifting technique, with weights or heavy objects, due to its rigid nature, Fulop adds. And better form could mean better fitness. Side effects of using a waist trainer. They prevent you from strengthening your core. First, as mentioned earlier, wearing a waist trainer during exercise or in everyday life can make your core muscles weaker. If worn too much, the core muscles will start to depend on the stability and support of the waist trainer, Fulop says. Brooke Cates, a prenatal and postnatal exercise specialist and founder of the Blue Method, adds, waist trainers can become a crutch due to overwearing and not simultaneously training the core appropriately. If a person isn't implementing proper core and pelvic floor training and just hoping that the waist trainer will magically slim their waist, they will be highly disappointed. Waist trainers mess with your breathing. Waist trainers have been shown to inhibit your ability to breathe deeply, Vargo points out. So wearing one might help your weightlifting form a little bit, but it may also mess with your exercise performance. It should go without saying. However, as a reminder, how hard you work out is directly tied to your ability to breathe. This is why weightlifters who use lifting belts, which act similarly to waist trainers in supporting core muscles, loosen them right after performing a lift. What's more, reduced lung capacity can lead to fatigue or even loss of consciousness, i.e. fainting, suggests Fulop. They can shift your organs and cause long-term health issues. If worn for a very long time, waist trainers can also have the same negative structural effects as corsets. Mainly, wearing a waist trainer can shift the floating ribs or the ribs that aren't attached to your sternum. This may move internal organs, causing the upper organs in the area to move further up and the lower organs to move further down, notes Fulop. As a result, long-term waist training can also cause digestive issues, a decrease in circulation, rib damage, and a condition called costochondritis, which is inflammation of the cartilage between the ribs. They can cause pelvic floor issues, especially in women who have recently given birth. Brooke Cavallo, a certified personal trainer, never considered wearing a waist trainer until after the birth of her second baby. It was a rough delivery, and her core felt super weak afterward. She revealed that she started wearing a waist trainer because she wanted extra support, and the idea of shrinking her stomach and uterus was appealing. About 3 weeks after my second baby was born, I started feeling a very strange bulging in my pelvic area, Cavallo recalls. Because this was my second baby and I have a background as a prenatal or postnatal exercise specialist, I knew what I was feeling could not be normal. After consulting with her OB, she found out she had a slight bladder prolapse, which meant her bladder was pushing against the wall of her vagina. Because my pelvic floor was already weak from a large baby and an aggressive delivery, wearing a waist trainer had placed even more pressure on my pelvic floor and caused a grade 1 prolapse, Cavallo explains. Unfortunately, Cavallo's experience isn't that rare among women who wear waist trainers after birth. Waist trainers can often be quite aggressive for the postpartum core, or any core for that matter, and even the more gentle ones can cause issues if not used correctly, Kate says. In the early days postpartum, the internal organs, uterus, and pelvic floor musculature are moving through a massive healing state and require the ability to move back into their pre-pregnancy spaces, Kate explains. Strapping on a waistband, sucking in your belly, and tightening an external object around your torso can sometimes do more harm than good, Kate adds. Tips: high-waisted compression panties are a gentler alternative to waist trainers. Still, always consult with your doctor before adding either to your wellness routine, especially if you're postpartum. The final takeaway: experts agree that best way to shape your waist is through diet and exercise. Processed, sugar-laden foods, drinking your calories, and calorically dense food should be minimized, Vargo suggests. She recommends core strengthening exercises combined with metabolic conditioning like HIIT workouts. Vargo also suggests keeping track of your waist measurement while you make these changes. Remember, slow and steady progress is lasting progress, Vargo tells us. Last but not least, if something sounds too good to be,